and now I'll never speak to you again.
Strangers, can you tell me where I find the house of Oedipus, your king? Better yet, if you know, can you tell me where he is?
His home is here, stranger, and he is inside. This lady here is the mother of his children.
May her happy home always be blessed, for she is his queen, true mistress of his house.
I wish the same for you, stranger. Your fine words make you deserve as much. But tell us now, why you have come? Do you seek information, or do you wish to give us some report?
Lady, I have good news for your whole house, and for your husband too.
What news is that? Where have you come from?
I have come from Corinth. I'll give you my report at once, and then you will, no doubt, be glad, although perhaps you will be sad as well.
What is your news? How can it have two such effects at once?
The people who live there, in the lands of beside the isthmus, will make him their king. They have announced it.
What are you saying? Is old man Polybus no longer king?
No, he is dead and in his grave.
What? Has Oedipus' father died?
Yes. If what I'm telling you is not the truth, then I deserve to die.
You, there! Go at once and tell this to your master.
Oh, you oracles of the god, so much for you. Oedipus has for so long been afraid that he would murder him. He ran away. Now Polypus has died, killed by fate and not by Oedipus.
Ah, Jocasta, my dearest wife, why have you summoned me to leave our home and come out here?
You must hear this man, and as you listen, decide for yourself what these prophecies, these solemn proclamations from the gods amount to.
Who, this man? What report does he have for me?
He comes from Corinth, bringing news that Polybus has passed away. He's gone.
What? Stranger, let me hear from you in person.
I must first report my news quite plainly, then I should let you know that Polybus has passed away. He is gone.
By treachery, was it the result of some disease?
With old bodies, a slight weight on the scales brings final peace.
Apparently his death was from an illness.
Yes, and from old age.
Alas, indeed, why should any man pay due reverence to Apollo's shrine, where his prophet lives? Or to those birds which scream out overhead, for they foretold that I was going to murder my own father? But now he's dead and lies beneath the earth, and I am here. I never touched my spear. Perhaps he died from a desire to see me. So, in that sense, I brought about his death. But as for those prophetic oracles, they're worthless. Polybus has taken them to Hades, where he lies.
Was I not the one who predicted this some time ago?
You did, but then I was misguided by my fears.
You must not keep on filling up your heart with all these things.
But my mother's bed, I am afraid of that, and surely I should be.
Why should a man whose life seems ruled by chance lives in fear? A man who never looks ahead, who has no certain vision of his future. It's best to live haphazardly as best one can. Do not worry, you will wed your mother. It's true that in their dreams a lot of men have slept with their own mothers, but someone who ignores all this bears life more easily.
Everything you say would be commendable if my mother were not still alive. But since she is, I must remain afraid. Although what you are saying is right.
But still, your father's death is a great comfort to us.
Yes, it is good, I know. But I do hear that, lady. She is still alive.
This one you fear, what kind of woman is she?
Oh man, her name is Merope, wife of Polybus.
And what's in her makes you so fearful?
Stranger, a dreadful prophecy sent from the god.
Is it well known, or something private which another person has no right to know?
No, it is public knowledge. Loxias once said it was my fate that I would marry my mother and he shed my father's blood with my own hands. That's why many years ago I left my home in Corinth. Things turned out well, but nonetheless it gives me the sweetest joy to look into the eyes of my own parents.
And because you were afraid of her, you stayed away from Corinth?
And because I did not want to be my father's killer.
My lord, since I came here to make you happy, why don't I relieve you of this fear?
You would receive from me a worthy thanks.
That's why I really came. So your return might prove a benefit to me back home.
But I will never go back to my parents.
My son, it is so clear you have no idea what you are doing.
What do you mean, old man? In the name of all the gods, tell me now.
If that's the reason you're fugitive and won't go home,
I heard Apollo's prophecy might reveal itself in me.
you were afraid you might become corrupted through your parents?
That's right, old man. That was my constant fear.
Are you aware that these fears of yours are groundless?
And why is that? I was born their child.
Because you and Polybus were not related.
What do you mean? Was Polybus not my father?
He was as much your father as this man here. No more, no less.
But how can any man who means nothing to me be the same as my own father?
But Polybus was not your father. No more than I am.
Then why did he call me his son?
If you must know, he received you many years ago as a gift. I gave you to him.
He really loved me. How could he if I came from someone else?
Well, before you came, he had no children. That made him love you.
No. When you gave me to him, had you brought me or found me by accident?
I found you in Citron's forest valleys.
What were you doing wandering up there?
I was looking after flocks of sheep.
You were a shepherd? Just a hired servant roaming here and there?
Yes, my son, I was. But at the time, I was the one who saved you.
When you picked me up and took me off, what sort of suffering was I going through?
The ankles on your feet could tell you that.
Ah, my own misfortune, why mention that?
Your ankles had been pierced and tied together. I set them free.
My dreadful mark of shame. I've had that scar ever since I was a child.
And that is why fortune gave you your very name, the one which you still carry.
Tell me, in names of heaven, why did my parents, the father of my mother, do this to me? Why?
I do not know. The man who gave you to me knows more of that than I do.
You mean to say he got me from someone else? It wasn't you who stumbled on me?
No, it was not me. Another shepherd gave you to me.
Who? Who was he? Do you know? Can you tell me any details once you know for certain?
Well, I think he was one of Laius' servants. At least that's what people say.
You mean King Laius? The one who ruled this country years ago?
That's right. He was one of the king's shepherds.
Is he still alive? Can I still see him?
You people live here. You best answer that.
Do any of you here now know the man, the shepherd he describes? Have you seen him? Either in the fields or here in Thebes? Answer me, it's critical. It's time at last to find out what this means.
The man he mentioned is, I think, the very peasant of the fields you wanted to see earlier, but of this, Jocasta could tell more than anyone.
Lady, do you know the man we sent for just minutes ago? The one we summoned here? Is he the one this messenger refers to?
Why ask me what he means? Forget all that. There is no point in trying to find out what he said.
With all these indications of the truth here in my grasp, I cannot end this now. I must reveal the details of my birth.
In the name of the gods, no! If you have some concern for yourself, then stop! Do not keep investigating this. I will suffer. That will be enough.
Be brave. Even if I should turn out to be born from a shameful mother whose family have been slaves for 3 generations, you will still have your noble lineage.
Listen to me, I beg you. Do not do this.
I will not be convinced. I will not be convinced. I should not learn the whole truth of what these facts amount to.
Care about your own well-being. What I tell you is for your own benefit.
What you're telling me for my own good brings me more distress. It
Oh,
honestly
you,
does.
oh, you unhappy man. May you never find out who you really are.
Go, one of you. Go and bring that shepherd here. Leave that lady to enjoy her noble family.
Alas, you poor miserable man. There's nothing more than I can say to you, and now I'll never speak to you again.
Conflicts. Human versus fate. Fate signifies the prognostication of what will happen, and it is a fundamental feature of Greek tragedies and stories. Oedipus is no exception. As stated, the characters of the Greek tragedies are free, yet their freedom is one way or another attached to fate. In the play Oedipus Rex, destiny plays a significant part by controlling the fates of the characters. It controls the characters Jocasta, Laius, and Oedipus, and predecides the most crucial occasions in their lives. However, in infatuating the plots, Sophocles has indicated that the characters are not tied with destiny altogether, as they are given the liberty to live their life in whichever way they want. Sometime before the birth of Oedipus, it was declared publicly by Delphi that he would kill his father and wed his mother. All the characters, through their kindness, astuteness, inquisition, and throughout any way, acted distinctly to deceive the destiny and prophecy, only to realize that fate cannot be tricked no matter what. This scene is significant in a way that it binds the prophecy's forthcoming before the ultimate climax. Oedipus' immovable longing to reveal the truth about Laius' murder and his own birth has driven him to the deplorable acknowledgement of his scandalous actions. Tiresias, Jocasta, and the herder tried to stop him from wanting to uncover the unvarnished truth, for it is his own vein that he should solve the last puzzle, the puzzle of his very own life. At the point when he discovers the truth of his birth, he was heartbroken. He realized that his fate had happened without doubt and feels revolted by it. The most crucial circumstances of his life were controlled by his fate. Without knowing, his own acts of leaving Corinth, marrying Jocasta, an aged woman, not knowing his identity, and being arrogant by eliciting information from the shepherd have contributed to this catastrophe. Another reason why we felt this scene was significant is because it shows the major conflicts of human versus self. In this, Oedipus is seen as a brave king who saved Thebes from the plague by solving the riddle of the Sphinx. This fills him with arrogance and a skewed belief that he cannot do wrong or be flawed. He is also fed this notion by those around him, especially Jocasta, who always dismisses his worries about the prophecy. However, deep down, Oedipus is actually riddled with a fear that the prophecy is in fact true, that he did in fact kill his father and marry his mother. As such, this is why there is a conflict with himself during the scene, because Oedipus struggles while trying to maintain a brave, fearless front, while being in denial. He is drawn to the search for his destiny as a way to desperately prove his innocence. This causes him to push on despite the fears of the truth of who found him, as seen in the line, Who was he? Do you know? Can you tell me any details once you know for certain? When he learns that someone else found him as an infant and gave him to the messenger.
Even after Jocasta pleads with him to abandon the search because she realizes who Oedipus is, that her husband is actually her son, he does not back down. This is because he does not want to seem timid or at fault. This is seen in the line where he reassures Jocasta, "Be brave. Even if I should turn out to be born from a shameful mother whose family for 3 generations have been slaves, you will still have a noble lineage." As such, this conflict blinds him to the truth, because everyone realizes what has happened, that the prophecy is in fact true, but again, in battling his ego and fears, struggling to calm both, Oedipus becomes so focused on not the inquiry, but in proving his innocence, that it ultimately destroys him.